That's now that's a potential rumor. We do have a lot of rumors, but again, there are a lot of sources to point out whether or not that point out that they are they're potentially very true, right? I'll say that. Um, Also, Castlevania Nocturne. I don't know who else is out there watching Castlevania, but I've enjoyed both Castlevania series. I feel like they did like a fantastic job at depicting the Castlevania verse, the Belmonts, the level of strength that Alucard has in comparison to his father. Now, I do want to emphasize that Alucard is nowhere near as strong as Prime Dracula. All right, that's never going to be the case. However, you know, and I'm hold on, I could be incorrect. I'm getting it at the moment, so steer clear of whatever I just said there. I do want to say that my this season, I believe I want to say that was the conclusion of the Nocturne series. I don't know. Want to say the animation was top notch, was fantastic, and I mean you can just see it was trending on Twitter. Yeah, it was trending on Twitter. I mean, you guys saw it, I saw it, everyone saw it. It was just oh my gosh, it's very difficult to describe like how amazing just the choreography, the writing, everything was done very nicely, and I love that. Um, I also want to, of course, Sakamoto is out now. I'm going to keep it as less formal as possible with you guys, just because this is supposed to be the year of the ZOM-POCALYPSE, right? And I will tell you guys exactly what that means. Exactly what that means when I get the opportunity. But I will explain it in this podcast. If you're not watching this podcast, you totally missed the podcast, and you can get the opportunity to watch it live. We will be taking this video down right after or short after. Not be directly after, but we will be providing this whole. So make sure to go on the Patreon and check that out because we've got a lot of good stuff that's going to be going on. There's a lot of great things that's happened this year. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't. Go and follow us on all social media platforms. Next up, we have My Hero Academia has announced a spinoff called My Hero Academia Vigilante. I don't know if it's gonna carry like a similar thing as is gonna do a similar thing as the Solo Leveling, where they basically continue on for the storyline in a different sort of alternative universe. There's also been news of a Dune Part 3 going into development. Or at least soon to be going into development, but announced as officially coming out very soon. So I'm anticipating end of 2026, potentially 2027, but definitely maybe around that time. Next up, we have something extremely well, I before I dive into that, let me dive into how crazy amazing Tower of God has been. Like, I don't know if you guys are following. I don't know if you guys are following, right? But Tower of God has just been amazing, guys. I don't know how to describe it. It's if you like One Piece, you may also, and you like, blood and gore. You like One Piece and you like Bleach and you like Yu-Gi-Oh! And you like what are some other series? You like Yu Yu Hakusho? Go check out Tower of God. It's a manhwa that's just been doing fantastic for um I'll say almost 10 years now. But they started off extremely slow. They picked up a lot in the last few years. So I would say the last 5 years they picked up a lot. And I'm gonna give my little theory here because I, for one, have gotten a large appreciation just for the series and the way they go about doing things. The way that they expand on certain characters, and they never forget about characters, but they always save that lore, and they do it so well that you just you don't forget, you don't ever forget about that character, and the moment they're needed, they're there. Um, and only that it's almost like entire scenes, ecosystems are being built around that character. It's phenomenal. The art is amazing. Some of the best artwork that I've seen. And maybe the anime isn't doing so well, hasn't been doing so well this year. But I have no, I have a lot of faith in the future having its way uh, with a a good solid production of the Tower of God animation. Now there's two Tower season one was fairly solid animation. Um, the art is very unique, and you'll see that it sort of carries some um, 3D animation, but it does it in a way to where it blends in with the background, and you can tell some of it seems drawn, and it's very interesting. They sort of do something similar as like another anime that released last year, I believe, which was Heavenly Delusion, which Heavenly Delusion I think was one of my favorite animes for the year of 2024. I believe it came out in 2024. Don't quote me on that, but season one was phenomenal. Coming back to Tower of God, Tower of God has basically it's season 3 seasons now, and I believe season 3 is either at its conclusion or about to conclude. Now I'm going to very briefly talk to you guys about it because I know we have other material to go into, and read throughs coming very soon. Um, just be aware of that. All right, I'll say be aware of that. Read-throughs coming very soon for Tower of God. Maybe even a theory video. Quote, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Right. But there are definitely some videos that we'll talk about that is coming. But I will tell you toward the end. Now, that Tower of God, right? Tower of God starts off with this character named the 25th Bomb, right? And 25th Bomb is essentially this irregular who is either invited or is able to open the tower himself. I think there's some lore to suggest that he was able to open the tower himself through certain sprinkles and suggestions within season one and season two of the series. Now, the series starts off basically with him as a boy. He's potentially around 12, 13 years old. But as the series progresses, he ages and there's time skips, and it's very cool, right? But essentially, the tower is filled up with these irregulars. The tower is essentially the size of, let's say, I believe when the series came out, they were saying that the tower, or at least each floor. Now there's over 100 floors on this thing, right? Each floor is about the size of it's basically like the world, right? It's the size of either the world or a continent. Yeah, I believe it was a continent, um, and each being the size of a continent. No, we don't have many continents on Earth. So just imagine this large tower with over 100 continents. That concept alone is insane. Right now, they traverse through these. Basically, they're able to traverse through these to these continents by basically going through each floor, but passing the criteria set by the administrator and by proxy, the king of the tower, Jihad, right? And so to do that, basically our protagonist, Bomb, or the 25th Bomb, starts off the tower, basically going through with this character named Rachel, who, toward the end of the series, or not series, rather the um, part one, season one, has this betrayal, which basically is the catalyst um, that basically sets a trajectory path for our main protagonist. Who there's a little bit of a separation between our main team and the protagonist within season two, and you can sort of tell that. And initially, it starts off that way, but soon after, or maybe I'll say a quarter down the line, our protagonist is joined together with his primary team per se, right? And that's going to be Coon from the Coon family, or Agoro Coon from the Coon family. And Rachel is no longer with us because of the betrayal. And then we have Bomb, and we have Rack, right? And those are basically the main three who basically are able to sort of traverse different avenues. They're able to go through the tower and sort of utilize, learn more about the tower. And as they learn, we learn, right? So they're basically learning about the 10 grade family leaders. They're also learning about Fug, and they're learning about the red light district that, coincidentally enough, has a red light, right? And it's essentially a layer in between the tower. That's this like zone of nothingness, right? Or this mysterious zone that basically has a is like purgatory, right? It's purgatory for more people than we thought would be there. Later down the line, I won't spoil it for some of the people that are new to basically Tower of God, but there are some very important people that you wouldn't think are in this red light district. And there's also like this mysterious workshop. Um, you've got different types of not just families, but the Lopobia family, which is were first introduced as is one of the largest families, and were also later introduced by the family head, who we and I understand. I didn't initially understand why we were introduced to him, but now I understand that we were introduced to him because he sets a catalyst. He sets precedence toward the involvement of the other great family leaders and the other great families. So it's all very curious stuff. Um, Again, if you want me to continue to dive into this, um, Dr. Bonehead, shout out to you if you're over there, if you're seeing this, but he's been doing a phenomenal job on a weekly basis to sort of creating a vibe, creating an atmosphere for the Tower of God fan base. There's a few of you guys that are basically doing more work than I could possibly do, and for that you have my appreciation. Thank you guys. Those of you guys that are supporting the Tower of God, um, that are within the Tower of God community. If you'd like to know more about it, make sure to join the Sing Zone. Join the Sing Zone Discord, and yeah, we go over theories on a weekly basis as well as watch parties. Um, but I think I'll stop there. I think some theories I think are best said in a non spoiler related, or maybe a spoiler related theory video, which I will be releasing. I don't know if it'll be on the Sing Zone podcast or if it'll be on the main Zone FanFic channel. Um, but if you guys are curious about that, make sure to comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Yeah, that's all I have for that. Now let's moving on to the to Dune Part 3, which has had its announcement. Right after that, we have something I think some of you guys might want to know about. Right now, Kendrick Lamar, if you don't know already, has had a phenomenal year in 2024. Right now, I know we don't typically talk about artists, rap artists, rather, but I think we're going to do a little something different. And in this year of 2025, right? We're not just going to be talking about fiction. We're going to be talking about all artistic aspects, right? And I think that's what's going to separate us, right? As opposed to your favorite content creator, right? So Kendrick Lamar is also, not only did he basically go on a run to essentially beat Drake, who has basically been setting the bar in terms of rap, but he's also separated a clear line in terms of culture, right? Which I think is very important, and it basically creates a an effect of sorts, right? Which basically says, hey, this is where the line is drawn. We don't, the culture isn't identifying with a lot of things that Drake believes, rather, or he advocates with. So I think it's becoming like core rap purists, people that enjoy the artistic and lyrical aspects of rap and hip hop culture, as opposed to the more um, pop culture centric things, such as the over sexuality of women and women and I'm glad I didn't say that, women and women, men and women, right? So of people rather, right? But in this sense, I think that argument, what I was about to say, does sort of fit in terms of Drake, because he has somewhat of a uh, of a fault of basically uh, having relations with, allegedly, with minors. Now, again, this is all alleged, but I think we have to sort of go back to where these rumors actually started. Right, this all started because of Drake, right? And the diss tracks, he mentioned Millie Bobby Brown, which was never mentioned before. And you go back to that in a concert, and I believe it was Tennessee. He was on stage with a woman who was 17, and he kissed her on stage after finding out prior and asking her whether or not she was 17. And then he still went in for a kiss, multiple, I might add. Now, there has been several rumors and evidence to sort of support this because of Drake and his nature, to not only ruin relationships but also have somewhat inappropriate relationships with certain fans, um, and just people in general. Um, and I think that's sort of the distinction that needed to be painted, and it was painted last year. Right, there's the slogan "Not like us," or rather now the global saying "Not like us," who was derived from a diss track, right? Now I think there's a little bit of a lack of understanding, because I think there's um, there are some things that I've talked about in regards to this diss um, that I've talked about in previous videos. So if you'd like to hear more about the diss per se, I've already dived into that in prior videos. But what I will say is that Kendrick Lamar has now made it. He's basically released a few things here and there. He's released this album called GNX, which is a more West Coast centric album, which would make sense because he is from the West Coast. That's Compton, California. Um, he's very loud and proud about that because of where he's come, how he's been raised, and the things that he's had to learn along the way, and how that's helped him, and how that's made his life worse in some aspects. But he's very transparent about that, and because of that, I think has really sort of helped. I think the country. It's given more transparency to the country, right? Given more transparency to the world, because a lot of people don't realize that Kendrick Lamar isn't necessarily just a regional or a continental um, artist. He's a world class artist. Now he will go on in the coming weeks. I think the countdown is about 20 days now, where he'll basically go on to do the Super Bowl. Funny enough, he'll go on to do the Super Bowl, which I'm not much of a sports fan, but I know I'm already going to be tuning into that because who's not, right? Now, Kendrick Lamar, he's not only starting off the year with a Super Bowl, he's also been rumored to be coming out with a deluxe album as well as a comedy series um, with the co-creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone, co-creators of South Park. So it's a rumored South Park movie comedy skit that's gonna be. I think now I have my theories on whether or not he'll be basically using all the things such as the lawsuits that Drake has been pushing out, the moments with Lil Wayne, and then the apology. The little things that Snoop has, the little things that Snoop has did or 50 Cent has did, you know, and then of course, which I believe 50 Cent is probably going to be a predominant person within this comedy series that he's going to be making fun of because I again we already know that Kendrick has had a role in the acting franchise. So whether or not he'll be heavily invested within this comedy movie, I think that he will. I'm just going to say that he will, and if he is, I already know that Kendrick has a sense of humor. Like his humor is bar none. It's one of the best. So I have no lack of faith that Kendrick Lamar is basically going to create one of the best. Um, 2024 was not the year we thought it was. I think that year that we think I think 2025 is going to be another unprecedented year by Kendrick Lamar. But this comedy film is going to be set out to release on Independence Day, or rather July 4th, 2025. And I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be extremely big. And this is not just even, this is disregarding the entire Super Bowl, which is going to take place in just a few weeks from now, along with a project or two. We don't know how many projects he's dropping this year. I think at the very least he could drop 1 to 2. But it's out there. That's the point. Next up, we have a rumor. Now, this is a very iffy rumor. I know a lot of people wish Mila Jovovich would come back to the Resident Evil franchise, but there is a rumor that Resident Evil is coming out with a new movie, set to be in production. It's also rumored to be starring Mila Jovovich, but I doubt she'll be returning to the franchise, just because of the ending of the last one. Now, I think I'm starting to see somewhat of a trend, but I'm gonna announce that trend toward the end. How about that? Um, Jujutsu Kaisen Goju's Past has also been announced for May 2025. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be. I think that's going to be interesting. I don't know if that's a spin-off series or a movie. I don't know, but the sooner we find out, the better. And the sooner we find out, we will let you guys know. That way, you guys can talk all about it. And if you guys want to explore more, make sure to, of course, join the Discord. You know where we're at. Um, Next up we have some news, right? We got BMW basically revealing a adaptive paint reveal. Now I know this is going to be a hassle for cops, basically, um, cops trying to chase down people on a highway speed chases, which I still don't think they should be doing that. Um, However, BMW has revealed an adaptive paint, which is changing colors on a real time LED paint. It's pretty dope. Um, we also have news from Jeff Bezos releasing a having a successful launch into space. Space has been very very big, um, very very big in terms of uh, what's been going on in recent times, right? There's SpaceX has been releasing some things. Um, Jeff Bezos has released on Origin Blue, released I think in the past few weeks, which has that's that's just it really sets a mind. It gives some perspective that we have these abilities to reach out, um, and do things that we weren't able to do in the last 10 few decades. We weren't able to do this 50 years ago, and so much things have happened that now reality I think has become questionable. Whether or not what's actually happening. Why isn't space travel as public as um a presidential race, right? Because we're making leaps and bounds in terms of society, and in terms of revolutionizing technology. I even heard some recent rumors that there could be a potential singularity amongst quantum teleportation, and that supposedly had taken place a few weeks ago. I still don't know if that's true. I'm gonna have to wait on some official sources to confirm that. But I feel like in the time of AI, and um, things have really started to um, weigh in on whether or not things are true, or whether or not things are reality, or not reality. Now, it's very interesting that these things are happening now, that it's trending now, and I think that X really does a ill justice um, to really create a differentiation, because uh, and again, I know there are still new government regulations um, being put into place, policies being put into place, and it argued, but I don't think it's enough. I don't think there's enough eyes on it enough. I don't think there's enough. I don't think there's not just eyes, but I don't think there's enough activity on it enough. Um, People aren't invested, right? People, I think they give into the fear concepts of, it's just going to replace us or it's not. And I think as a community, if we want to be a proactive community, these are some things that we need to stay on top of, right? Um, Along with that, Toyota has also announced that they will also be joining the space race. Um, and I think that's amazing. I think it's good stuff. I just think just needs to be more transparent, right? Um, I think there has to be a level of transparency there that needs to be unveiled. Um, and again, I think it's very important that each of us do our part to do not only get involved, but take an ethical approach, an ethical approach, because there's educated, there's ethical, generally ethical means less risk, right? The least amount of risk as possible. Now, you do that by staying informed and staying educated, right? Um, it's very difficult to make an educated ethical risk if you're just not educated. So yeah, that's just my opinion on that. Next up, though, we have some games, right? We have Helldivers 2. We also have uh, Horizon Dawn, the movie, right? So Helldivers 2 movie, interesting. That's an announcement, right? I don't know what it is. That's all of these movies. I think they're adding up to something, right? Something about it is very eerie, very familiar. Nonetheless, we have these movies being announced. They're potentially, well, sorry, being rumored, right? These are rumored movies. Helldivers 2 and Horizon Dawn, the movie. Now, I don't think we're gonna get any sort of Horizon Dawn monsters, but I think when I think of a real world version of Horizon Dawn, I think of something like Terminator, right? Um, yeah, interesting. Um, but we also have a release date for. We spoke about it earlier. It's the Bleach Rebirth game that's going to be released March 21st, 2025. So that's it's about okay 2.5 months from now. That is a good amount of time to get prepared and sign up for the tournament. If you want to find ways to sign up for Bleach tournaments, make sure to not only subscribe but also go over to check out Flame Rebirth's channel, join the Discord, join the Discord. I'm gonna keep saying that because we're gonna have links inside of Discord that's going to basically help navigate you. I might even just attach them to the bottom of within the comment section of this video. But like I said before, I'm going to be we'll be taking this video down, putting it up on the Patreon, um, so that way you guys can see the full version of this. Especially for you guys that weren't able to make it in time. Next up, though, we'll have we'll of course share snippets of it on the channel, but just a fair warning there. Next up, though, we have Death Jam Fight for Glory, rumored to be coming out late 2025. By multiple unofficial sources, I will say that unconfirmed at the moment, but the fact that we're getting a rumored Death Jam Fight to Glory, I think this rap thing has really put a spin on just getting back to like the whole. I haven't seen a Def Jam game since like PS2, PS3. So I don't even think PS2. I mean PS3. I think it was the last game I remember is like came out on PS2. So that's something that I'm extremely shocked about. Just hearing. I remember playing as like 50 Cent. I think I played as like Snoop Dogg and um, as a child. When Def Jam first came out, oh my god, it's just insane that you know all these games are coming back and we're getting these new games. Um, One thing that I didn't quite catch up on is that, or get rather, is that we're going to be diving into a new new project this year, right? So if you guys are into a passion project, know that we're also diving into a project that requires some technical expertise. And so, if you guys would like to hear a little bit more about that, make sure to check out the Patreon. Looking for editors, looking for people that are proficient in coding and such. Now, of course, all of this stuff is going to be vetted by myself and the team. So make sure to check out the link below, join the Discord if you're interested. Keep up to date with us. And again, we're dropping an entire series this year. One of the videos have already released for this series. It's going to be sort of like a short. I can't dive into it fully. But if you want to see Act 4, or rather the first part of that, make sure to go with the Zone FanFic channel and check that out. Because yeah, it's going to be it's going to be amazing. We have another video coming out very soon, potentially this month, but maybe not. That's a big hint there. But if you aren't subscribed, make sure to go subscribe. But in regards to solo leveling, right? Solo leveling, I've been up to date with solo leveling. I know we haven't really talked much about solo leveling, but I think that it's just been doing a phenomenal job in terms of the animation, the recent videos or recent anime episodes that have been coming out. I don't think they've had one bad episode. Like, it's very difficult for me to say anything about solo leveling having one bad episode. I feel like they did a phenomenal job. Even with the Arise parts, which occurred last season, but apparently they've got an entire spin-off that I have not stayed up to date with. There's just so much going on. But I'll tell you what, guys, we're gonna take a short break, and then we're gonna finish up this podcast. So you don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back. Welcome back. All right, so we're gonna end this off right. We're gonna be talking about the amount of just stuff that is happening in 2025. Right, we've got people incidents in Louisiana. We've got incidents in Las Vegas, California, Minnesota, Texas. It's going on in 2025. 2025 is just a crazy year, right? So far. However, whether or not, I think it's the best opportunity for us to join in as a community to really understand not just anime but each other, right? I for one want to have the Sing Zone be a platform for all, right? And to do that, I think it's important to get voices of all all types. So this year we're going to be trying to dive into to not only other avenues, but we're going to be talking to multiple different type of people, um, as many as we can to really try to understand the aspects of fiction and nonfiction, right? So to do that, I think it's only best with sorry, I think it's only best for with the ones who lived, that making a fantastic comeback last year, not just comeback in the Walking Dead franchise, but return on the Netflix series. Um, so it is now on platforms like Netflix. You can go watch it and enjoy it. It is one of my favorite one of my favorite horror series of all time. Um, with Rick and Michonne. I think Carol and Daryl, they're also season two hasn't yet finished yet, or at least come out. I could be mistaken on that. If I'm wrong, I'm going to be disappointed in myself. But um, Walking Dead is still up and going, and I think as one of the series that have really made an impact in the year of 2024 and potentially ongoing in 2025, and also um, people referring to different aspects of 2025 and preparing for the worst. I do want to keep with you guys that it's important to also carry um, also carry one of these with you guys, right? Carry one of these with you guys. It might be a little too long, but carry one of those with you guys, and that way you guys can steer clear of all zombies when 28 years later comes out. Okay, um, so make sure to you know chop those apples. I didn't do the thing. Basically you. There we go. Now you guys are chopped in half. Now, yeah, I think I'm excited for 28 years later to come out. I also think it's a good time to really try to make an effort to if you come from a this will be my message for the day or the year, right? If you come from a disgruntled or um, we'll say divided, or we'll say um, a family which you don't think is perfect. Know this: no families are perfect. Doesn't matter if they're rich, if they're poor. Um, no family is perfect in the slide. There's no such thing as a perfect family. But I do want to share with you guys that this year is going to be, of course, the year of ZOM-POCALYPSE, right? And to do that, we're going to be playing some zombie games. We're going to be playing some apocalypse games. We're going to be playing. We might even do some vlog videos for you guys. Um, but also and of course you guys already know Bleach, um, Rebirth of Souls is going to be coming out, right? So um, make sure to stay tuned for that. We were supposed to be waiting on Sai Sensei to tune in. Breezy's out this time, but we may be making a separate video. This is more of a yearly video, but we may be making a separate video come tomorrow. Um, just wanted to keep you guys on top of that. Make sure to stay tuned for all videos. Make sure to hit the noti bell. Not just support us on all social media platforms, but hit the noti bell. Let us know that you guys support me so I can help you guys keep pushing out the content that you guys like and appreciate. And just let me know your thoughts. If you guys, this video will remain up for, some time, but I will be taking it off. Just know that. And of course, yeah, stay, stay positive. Stay ready. This is 2025. I hope you guys have a fantastic new year, a fantastic time, and had a fantastic time joining us today. If you guys got a chance to watch this video while it was live, you will catch snippets of this video. So definitely stay tuned. Um, Much appreciated, and yeah, we'll catch you guys next time, travelers. Peace.